bien bonito.
Might have been Chick-fil-A.
I like that.
¿Nomás quieres agua?
Sí.
Did you eat something? Ya está.
We're ready.
Yes,
Okay, I would like to call a meeting to order then. Today is July the 18th and it is 5:36 according to my watch. Would everybody please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we get a roll call?
Yeah, I'll do the roll call. Yolanda Gutierrez Garcia,
Here.
Roberto Lopez, absent. Dr. Colleen Campbell, absent. Hector Chapa,
Present.
Dr. Marta E. Villarreal, absent, but she said she will be here.
Yeah.
Armando Lopez.
Present.
Angie Moore,
Present.
Gail Aker Rodriguez, she also said she was going to be present.
Yeah, I guess we can remedy that, okay, all right.
Julio Agosto Mendez,
Here,
we have a quorum.
thank you. Do we have any citizen comments?
Yes, I haven't written down my name on the, hello. But just wanna mention that this weekend, this Saturday,
Oh my God, what are you doing? Stranger, stranger, stranger. ¿Cómo está tu rodilla? It's coming along. Now it's the other one.
Okay.
One
Go ahead
down.
and continue.
yeah, no,
One down and one to go. I'm sorry. Okay.
Stranger.
Good, bien. Oh, yeah.
So this Saturday, we're gonna be doing our first, what we call our tactical urbanism project, which is on Zaragoza Street, so the corner of Zaragoza and Convent. We have about 10 artists that are gonna help us do that, so that's gonna be a spray paint street mural. It has a sarape pattern, so we hope to take some good pictures and we'll present it next time. But just so you're aware that that's happening this weekend, it's our first official project as Cultivarte. So we're very excited, very proud to get this going, and we have lots of other things. Just also Cultivarte related will be the project that they're going to present today, Community Development and the Environmental Services Department. So that's something that we'll be in touch with them about. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's great.
Thank you.
Anybody else? We need to do the minutes reading. Has anybody been able to read the minutes?
I think we read, I know we read them last time because we read them, but we couldn't take any action on them.
Yeah, we did get a, the form to approve.
Everybody wants to take a couple of minutes?
Can I just ask one question before we start? That if, sometime between now, could we talk about the wall? I don't know if it's on the agenda or not, but I asked permission maybe about the wall on Clark with the birds. What is?
It's on the agenda.
Okay, that's fine. That's my main thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of May 23rd, 2019 as presented.
Do I have a second? Anybody approval? Yes.
Aye.
Anybody disapprove? Yes, we have all James. Very good. Okay, communications and announcements. Are there any of those that we need to take care of?
Just wanted to mention there's a really thriving theater community, and there's 3 productions that are going on right now, and then one a little bit later in August. There's posters outside for Mary Poppins, Frozen Junior, is it Frozen? Junior, right? And then One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is at the Center for the Arts. Frozen is at the Laredo Theater, and Mary Poppins is at the Martinez Theater LLC. And then later in August,
Shipwreck.
Cabaret will
Shipwreck
be
too.
playing at the Center for the Arts.
Shipwreck too.
And shipwreck.
And Shipwreck, oh yes.
Casablanca Lake.
Right, I didn't see that poster.
Wow.
Their poster's not up there, but.
That's so great.
I think
That's
it's
wonderful.
Yeah, the community, the theater community is growing
It's growing.
in leaps and bounds, and what is important about it is that the participants are the youth of Laredo. And that's one of the things that I think is the most important thing that we can look at.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you very much,
Thank
Mr. Lopez. Staff reports, semi-annual committee report to mayor, city council.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're still on, if we could, stay on communications and announcements.
All right,
I believe we have some announcements from Coprivate, or was your initial announcement, did that take care of
Yeah,
that?
that was.
Okay, and then, we wanted to let you know also that the budget workshops, the date is still not set for those. I think this is regarding, Coprivate's presentation on the Fine Arts and Culture Master Plan. Okay, that's correct?
Yes,
Yes.
I was told that it's gonna take place sometime the week of August 12th is what, Ms. Elisa's anticipating.
So the commission will be invited to present, request funding for the Mural Arts Grant Program for the next fiscal year. Okay, and we can move on to staff.
okay, so then, let's move to staff, semi-annual committee report, the mayor and, city council.
You have in your packet the letter to the mayor and city council, and also the, for the last 6 months, past 6 months, with agendas, and attendance and members' contact information. This time, Ms. Elise had to sign on it, because it was due by July the 15th. Just a copy for you to fill it out.
All right.
And details what the commission did during the 6 months.
No, sure.
Okay, and we have another staff report, status on request for proposals for the mural at the 820 Convent Elderly Apartments building. So the copy of proposal package, is in the packet?
Just
Oh, yes.
if I may, Mr. Chairman, Arturo Garcia, Community Development,
No.
I'm not sure what's in your packet that staff provided, but I just came here just to give you a quick update. We did have an informational meeting, July 10th, and we did have a substantial number of folks come in here in terms of artists that were interested in it, and then we also put it up live on YouTube, so in case anybody wanted information, you could listen in, just like they are right now for this meeting. And we did have the benefit of Cultivarte helping us out, push it out to the artist community, so we're very happy with that response that we got. The deadline for submission of the mural proposals is August 2nd. Just to sum it up, it's $10,000 that's available for them. It's gonna be on the south wall of 820 Common Street, which is the elderly structure that we're currently renovating for 15 elderly units. It's coming along fairly quickly. We expect that that person or that artist will be contracting with the contractor to get that mural done. We have expectations of the whole project being completed, mural and the housing project done by February, March of next year. So we're moving fairly quickly. We did get notice this past week from the State Historical Preservation Office. We weren't too sure if they wanted input on the mural design, and they have indicated that they do. So once this committee makes a recommendation, we will probably send those 2 or 3 or 1 recommendation. We're recommending 2 or 3, so that way then council can decide which one they would like to choose. But obviously, we're gonna have to check with the State Historic Preservation Office before we send it to them, so make sure that they concur with the design. So if you have any questions, I'll be here.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How many people have submitted already?
No, we don't get submittals yet. They can submit right now, but nobody submitted yet.
Nobody's has yet.
They have until August 2nd, so I imagine that they're all preparing. Or
Okay.
I know that there was a lot of questions in terms of they wanted to reach out to the contractor, so we gave the contractor information.
How many people showed up to the meeting?
Oh man, what do you think, Christina? About maybe 6, 7 artists?
Yeah,
Wow.
6, 7, and then others have contacted me directly.
Yeah, because I know 2 people who couldn't make it, but they said they were interested too.
We're more than available in case you know
Right.
them. Just send them to us, or Regina's very informed on what we're doing. So
Okay.
also too, if they don't want to talk to staff, but we're there to provide them information on the project and
Okay.
facilitate information.
And I took notes that day that I can send out if you guys want.
But they've been on Instagram. They've been pushing out. I've seen it. Still
Yeah.
seen it. Still on the site, so.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna excuse myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, so I guess that's all it?
Yeah.
Status
Okay,
on,
so the,
No,
C
no,
is.
this one right that was given to us is also a proposal
That's-
for beautification.
oh, that's fine.
Oh, that's okay. That's beautiful.
But isn't there
So,
something?
the thing that I guess C, under staff reports, is a status on mural arts grant promotion event. We were supposed to, you're
Yeah,
here,
I'm here.
hi.
That's it, I knew he didn't see him, yeah.
Yes.
Hi everyone, Rafael Menendez, Public Information Officer. Just to remind everyone what we had decided to go through with. I've been in contact with the muralist, so both Mauro and with Gilberto. We're gonna do, since they're both in different locations of the city, and one of them's in a very busy area, we're gonna do a video of both of them, and we're gonna have the press conference here at the library. So in talking with them, we're going to be doing the filming of the video next week, and we will probably have the press conference. They're usually available on Mondays and Fridays. We'll probably have the press conference on August 2nd here at the multipurpose room. But I'm still working on that, on the details, and trying to make sure that one of them lives in San Antonio, so I'm trying to make sure that we get in contact with them to make sure that they are available for that press conference, but I'll keep the committee updated.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, this one, the Keep Laredo Beautiful is also a presentation or?
It's on next,
Our next
item
item.
for discussion.
Okay.
Are you ready to move on to that one,
Sure.
Mr.
Sure.
Chair? Yes. I believe I owed you that one. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Blasita Lopez, and I'm with the Environmental Services Department. But also, part of my scope of work there involves Keep Laredo Beautiful, which I've just recently, and last month, been charged to reboot, refresh, reactivate Keep Laredo Beautiful. And one of the ideas that came forward from Cultivate was to partner with the commission. And so I'm here to propose a partnership between Keep Laredo Beautiful and the commission. Y'all have set up a splendid process for selecting artists for different types of work. And we have a canvas available, which is our stormwater infrastructure. Great big concrete pieces, slabs that could be painted with something beautiful and obviously add to the landscape, the urban landscape. So it's before you. The pictures of the spillway that you see there, that's our first location proposal, if you will. It's an idea right now, so our ideas can hopefully culminate into something, beautiful, wonderful, and fruitful. So I'm here to represent KLB, and if you have any questions for me, Regina's also, I don't know if you've been to the site, but I know Alyssa went to the site, right? So they've seen the location as well. And we certainly have the support of Dr. Marte Martinez, the council member for that district, for District 6, where North Central Park is located. So I don't know if you have any counter proposals or ideas for me to take back to discuss with my boss.
I do want to mention that Dr. Marte Martinez is interested in kind of bringing more art to that whole area and doing other infrastructure changes to that space that could potentially be a space that, instead of being the creek, could be repurposed as maybe like an amphitheater or something like that. He did show, I think, a movie on a wall that was nearby, so he's looking to kind of bring more life to that space so people can actually hang out in the area. So this canvas that you see here, this space, is part of that. And so that's kind of how the idea came to be. So we know that the councilman is very interested in doing something there.
Isn't that a floodplain?
Yes, that's a detention pond, actually.
Okay.
The larger
Right,
photo that you see,
Yeah.
that's part of a detention pond, yes.
okay, or a natural creek or something.
It's also a part of the Manadas watershed,
okay.
and so, yes, it's part of a
So
creek too.
anything that's done there has to maintain that, right?
The
Yeah.
artist and the type of materials used have to take that into account, yes. I would say that's logical. We haven't quite gotten there with specifications yet,
Right.
but I'm sure we'll be working on those technicalities.
Yeah.
I will be working on those
I
technicalities.
had a chance to discuss that possibility of an amphitheater in that section, and they told me the same thing, that there is a floodplain.
Yeah.
So consequently, the problem that would be, mainly will be that no electrical outlets or any kind of electricity can be in there. So,
That sounds right.
I don't know if any kind of engineering can be done to.
I don't think so, I think they have to.
They just have to bring portable sound
Yeah.
if they're gonna do something
Portable
like
sound.
music or with generators.
But they can't destroy the
No,
flow.
no, you would have,
Yeah,
you would have to,
it has to be maintained.
you would have to put it in stilts, basically, create pylons, and then with those pylons, create your concrete slab
I
and
see.
extend it to the sides, that way the
And then
water
that
can
will
go
probably
in.
cover the mural.
That's the reason why,
After
no,
you build it, the mural
No,
might
I
not.
don't
No.
believe an
No.
amphitheater is being,
The
The
amphitheater
park
would have to be on the
master plan-
natural slope of the land.
it
I
it
see.
shows a location for it already, and I do not believe that it is in the detention pond. And Akina, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
didn't
not exactly.
study the master plan
Yeah.
really well, but it's not in the detention pond
It's
area.
like someplace
Yeah, it's
off.
not
in a
exactly
different
in,
location.
right next to that.
It's like off to the
just-
side
yeah,
or something.
And it's a big space, so this,
Yeah.
like, it would be viewable from there, but not.
It wouldn't
right
cover
next to
the
it.
mural
Yeah, no.
place that we're, or this location that we're proposing.
But that slab, I guess, the wall, really is a,
An eyesore right now?
no, not an eyesore. It's actually something that you have in your vision if
Yeah.
you're walking out there or
Yeah.
jogging or riding a bicycle. So just like what was done on the
On the other side.
San Isidro side,
Yeah.
where somebody went and painted along the.
Yeah, that was the RGISC mural project that funded the artists,
Right.
barely funded the artists, but they really kind of ended up donating their, but anyway, yeah,
Yeah,
that was
but
it.
here,
Huh?
but
Who did that? Who did-
RGISC, Rio Grande.
International
International
Study
Study Center. They requested artists to present their drawings for the murals that you see all along San Isidro.
So pretty.
And I think there were probably 4 or 5 artists who were involved, and then, yeah, there's different murals there. But it's really nice, I mean.
It really is.
And the artists really didn't get paid that much, it was kind of a labor of love.
Yeah.
But, Sandra Gonzalez has a very long mural, and Antonio Briones, and Mauro has a bird that's on the other side where actually the water comes through, and then the Ghost had a mural, and who else?
The Ghost.
The Ghost, I can't remember his name, but he goes by Ghost.
Gustavo Estrada.
Yes, Gustavo has a mural, and then I think those were the people, other people helped, a lot of artists helped.
I thought I saw Girl Scouts out there one time painting.
Oh, yeah, they have a small.
Who?
like, little-
Girl
The
Scouts.
Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
Yes, I think they were helping, or they, I
Well,
don't know.
I actually saw them in uniform out
And
there.
Yeah,
then
they did like a small.
Yeah,
mural, like-
and then Tony Briones has fighting roosters a little farther away than was,
Wow.
okay, so there's all that going on there.
And that just is really scenic, and I think if they did this would really
Yeah,
contribute to it.
Yeah, because on the other side of the park, we don't have much.
Yeah,
We just have
And
along San Isidro.
in the part where you walk, in like the wooded area where you go, there's a walking trail.
Mhm.
There are artists who have done murals on people's walls.
Mhm.
And so those are still there. There's a
Yeah,
lot
and they're
of
also
them.
very, very.
That's all I'm pretty interested.
That's kind of, that was just done by artists,
Yeah.
without permission, but.
Graffiti,
But
graffiti like.
Well, I think they got
If
the
it's a
permission of-
private
The property
wall,
owner.
then
Oh, the property
they
owners.
hopefully have the property owners.
I'm not sure because they don't
Who knows?
see it, I don't know,
Right.
I can't say. I just know there's murals
I guess I'm
there.
hoping. I'm hoping for the best in that.
Yeah, well,
But anyway, this is a great idea.
Yeah.
I move that we partner with the Keep Laredo Beautiful and do a partnership. The partnership seems to provide that we would not provide funding, that we would provide the process for artist selection, the process for image selection, and guidance to Keep Laredo Beautiful for execution of projects and joint presentation to the city of Laredo.
I did want to clarify, because I recall being at a council meeting where you brought forward the artists that have just recently finished
Yes. Yes.
their works from last fiscal year, correct?
Mauro and Gil.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's your normal process, right?
Yeah, that's the process
take-
that was kind of set up by the city.
Okay.
They kind of gave us direction on the process, right?
Okay.
So it's basically what the city had in their instructions to us as
Okay.
a committee.
Yeah, I wasn't sure that was exactly right when I wrote that today.
Yeah, they're like, they gave us those guidelines.
Yeah, we would, our
Yeah.
director would be up there with
Right,
Maria and with the committee chair, whoever's presenting at the time.
right, sure.
Give that information to council upon the selection and sort of
Right.
buttoning it up of all the details once we get to that phase. So, we've already had a discussion about writing the, request for proposals. And, I'll probably just be touching base about, dollar amounts because this initial side, this is a double-faced spillway. So it has this side that you see is right now approximately 3,800 square feet. There is a short wall that's, if you look at this, the more close-up photo, on the far right, it's a white structure that has like a railing. It's like kind of a reddish rail.
Yeah.
Yes.
That wall is also there, which also makes for a really nice canvas. And then the opposite side of the spillway is about 300 square feet. That's a lot of surface to paint. I don't know anything about how much it would cost, how much time it would take an artist in terms of valuing their time. So I really need a lot of help with a budget and understanding what we're getting ourselves into. So it sounds
It
great
does
right now, but I
take,
hope
yeah.
that we have enough money.
It does take quite a bit of time, especially because it's so long.
Yes,
The white wall, it's like the long one and then it goes that way? I can't- Or kind of-
it sticks up, it juts out.
Oh, it's still
On the
part of it.
short end, it's
Oh, okay.
a 2-foot wall, and then there's a gradient to it, and it goes up to 5 feet at
Oh,
the end
okay.
of it.
Okay.
I'm told it's about 120 feet in length,
Okay,
and the approximate square footage on the wall, I should have those notes here, was 354 square feet
okay.
on the wall. Ultimately, we'd love to have all of that covered, right?
Right.
But money will dictate how much could
Yeah,
be.
it can be done in sections.
Right, it could be
Yeah.
phased in perhaps. Perhaps we could do a section this fiscal year and another section next fiscal year. So, just I guess what has been going through my mind as I've been thinking about the execution.
And there's
of
people
this
that
project.
actually use that in the mornings. They have people out there doing yoga, like 5 or 6 people doing their impromptu classes.
In that area?
Yeah, right, they
Right
use the
there.
railing as,
Really?
like a bar, I guess, but that's what they, what is that what they call it? Like a ballet bar, they do it to the sun rising. I get out there that early, that's why I did, but they use it, it's used in more ways than just people walking and bicycling by there. So I think the backdrop of that would be some wonderful photographs of
Very
people out there
nice.
doing
I agree.
Sure.
Regina, did you have anything to add?
Oh, well, I had a question around, it sounds like Keep Laredo Beautiful would provide the theme. Are there certain themes that would have to be?
Yeah, our, obviously, globally, it's a beautification theme. But because the money that funds Keep Laredo Beautiful is stormwater related, so we receive our funding from the stormwater fee, we would like it to have some sort of a tie to pollution control or waterways, that type of a, just initially speaking, you know, off the top of my head. There's some broad things in there, and I'm sure we can broaden it so that the artists feel comfortable that they can find something that inspires them and that, you know, obviously develops into something very beautiful and gorgeous and wonderful and colorful and all that great stuff. But we do want to keep it with that water nexus. And maybe water's that one big topic, that one big umbrella. But the premise of our whole department is keeping stormwater clean, because your stormwater from this particular detention pond in Manadas Creek ends up in the Rio Grande, and the Rio Grande's our drinking water. So ultimately, that's our messaging, the basics of our messaging. And so the money does need to be spent to promote that.
Well, we already had a
Motion.
motion for accepting it. Do we have a second?
Oh, we're related, so I don't know if that matters or not.
No, I don't think it
We
does.
need to just probably get it out there on the
Why
record.
would that matter?
She-
I second that motion.
I don't think it matters.
I was thinking, is it
Everybody
too
in
late
Laredo's
to,
beginning.
I was just looking at this and I was thinking maybe we should, since he was talking about people out there doing yoga and all that, maybe we should continue the color of the landscaping, just go all the way up with the greens and that wouldn't cost so much if you continue with the landscaping
Perhaps.
look.
Yeah.
That way, I don't know if it'll cost that much, instead of having an idea, and if all the people are doing their yoga there in Bison, maybe palm trees or whatever it is, huizaches, whatever, it wouldn't look bad, it would be continuous greenery, no?
That's definitely an idea to consider.
So,
Yes.
so I know a lot of artists, and they could come up with great ideas, but I don't think they would go out and paint them. Does that make sense?
Well, there's actually people here who do murals. There's quite a
Okay.
few. Because doing a mural is so much different than painting a canvas.
Right.
It's just a scale. And there are quite a few people in Laredo who have the experience. So, I mean, I know that a lot of times artists have the idea and then they have people who help them. I mean,
Mhm.
that's also, you
Yeah.
know, quite possible. So,
Cause I'm thinking, I could probably
Come up
ask
with an idea,
people
uh-huh.
and come up with great ideas, but they're like, Angie, I'm not gonna go out there, I'm this age, or I'm, you know,
Yeah.
my schedule, or,
yeah.
that's what I'm.
Well, I guess whoever submits has to,
They have their own ideas.
Yeah.
has to say what it is they need or whatever.
Yeah, I think we give them the theme and then they can see, but I think that muralists are already committed to the fact that they have to work with the elements of our
Exactly.
city.
They've done
Well,
And they've done it before.
And they've done
I
it.
do want to mention that in meeting with Sandra Gonzalez, who recently completed the El Abrazo mural, she could be hired as a consultant to teach that technique and to be involved in a project. That's what we've suggested for the elderly home, for the community development project, where within the budget, they can include Sandra Gonzalez as a consultant. And so they can actually paint, 5x5 canvases in their studios, in their homes, and then go in and paste them on there and kind of fill in the gaps. And
She
fix-
does like the silk, right, she does it on a.
It's like very thin, it's parachute cloth.
Yeah,
is
it
what
looks
they
like
call
a
it.
silk material and then she
Yeah.
does it and then she goes in.
Yeah, it's
Like a
very, very
nylon.
thin, but she primes it many times, and so it does kind of look like canvas. It feels like canvas.
Our only issue is that is when water is flowing through there,
Yeah.
it can't release any kind of chemical into the water.
Yeah.
And so we have to be
That's
very
another-
conscientious of
Of the paint that's used.
what's
etc.
Or
applied
sealant,
there.
or- yeah, we can ask.
And I don't know enough about
I know that they have special sealers, I know because Gil
This
was
is
telling
true.
me about that process.
Mhm.
And they said once it's sealed, it's like if you were sealing a regular painting,
Yeah.
on a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really adheres to whatever surface you put it on, and it there's a mural that's been up for 30 years already, and it looks great with that technique. So it looks like it doesn't release, but we can ask her. She has a lot of information on it.
Yeah, I think, there are solutions to that.
Yes, I'm sure there are.
One of the things that they would have to look at also is that unlike doing a mural on a wall that is going to receive rain, in here, you are going to receive, whenever we get rain, and we don't get it often, but we get it. And,
We get it at one time, all at one time.
All at once, you know.
and water rushing with debris is totally different from falling rain. So that would have to be considered, because to get it all the way down to the bottom would be, to a certain extent, I think it would be a problem, because it will deteriorate more. You know, those lower areas will deteriorate more often, because that the ones that are going to be receiving the influx of the water. But that's something that can be resolved.
Yes, the specifications can be set that the mural fills a certain space.
We have the mural on the other stormwater runoff, right? And
Yes.
it looks fine.
Yes.
Okay.
The bird with like the pink and white.
Yeah, that's Mel. The big birds, yeah, that's Mel's. They know what paint to use so that it's,
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first
doesn't
time we're doing something.
disappear to the elements, yeah.
All right. Okay, so, any more discussion? Okay, if we can take a vote then, we already have, both the,
A motion and a
the
second.
motion and the second, so. All those in favor?
Aye.
All against? Nobody, so it passes.
Thank you, members of the
Thank-
commission and Mr. Chair, appreciate your support, we look forward to
The
working.
chair, the
That's
chair is right
okay.
here.
He's
Oh, you're the chair, well, he was cheering while you were,
He's
not quite back.
You're
Very good, thank you,
Thank you.
Gail, and everyone,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So like next week, next time we meet, you'll have something,
We can bring some proposed language for the RFP if you'd
Right.
like.
and then let
So
us
that
know
you
kind of
can
what kind of
review that?
budget you're looking at also.
I found some money, but I don't know that it's enough.
Okay.
So I do want to review maybe some of the past budgets to see what they look like. So we're still working on identifying the funding.
Okay.
I think we can meet with you, Jessica.
Sure.
And
Yeah, I
go
figured
over-
we'd have a follow-up meeting.
Yeah, and maybe we can both put something together with the budget and how Cultivar can help promote it.
Is it a practice for you all to receive materials ahead of time so that you've already read them by the time you come to?
Yeah, that's always good,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
and then we get an email and we can have that.
Yeah, the
Okay,
staff does send us stuff, so.
okay, great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, then we go to the next one, is mural on Clark.
So according to my notes, there was no quorum last time, but you did provide information on the condition of the current mural. And I was asked to ask you if you wanted to go over that for those who weren't here.
If they can get my phone to work again, I'll be more glad to show the pictures. If not, I can pass my phone around.
That was great.
Oh, I know what it looks like, I have to worry, I go by there every day.
Yes, do I need to go over?
Okay,
It's pretty deteriorated.
yeah.
So,
I-
projector. Oh, okay. Okay.
I
We're
got,
gonna get some technical assistance right
Yeah.
now. Okay.
But while we do it, I did present the pictures that I took of it the last time. I went to look at the artwork right there and then in person, and I noticed that a lot of the colors are already completely faded.
Yeah.
Not only that, but there is deterioration also on the wall itself. There's some different areas that the stucco that was put on the facade has actually broken. And so consequently, and my idea was that refurbishing would be almost exactly the same thing as painting anew. I don't think that it will be any less expense. The only expense that will be to try to clean it up. When this artwork was done, the same thing that we were talking about a while ago, a resin finish was given to it to protect it from any kind of graffiti, the environment and what you have it. It's been almost 30 years I would say, since that thing was done, and I think that the expectancy of the durability of the materials that are there is pretty much done. Some of the aspects of it are okay, wherever there is shade, but some of the others are pretty bad condition. The wall is extensive. The wall at its highest end is approximately, I would say, around 8 feet high. And it is 8 feet high for quite a long length. And then it begins to narrow down until it gets to a point that it's about maybe a couple of feet high. So I don't know. My recommendation was that, at the time that I did it, was that perhaps to try to get something new happening in there would be better. It would change also probably the look that we have right now. It was a task force that was performed by a lot of students at that time. And so the cost of it was probably minimal. I don't know what it's gonna be right now. To have children working there would probably require insurance. And that insurance could be costly also. So there's a lot of different things to look at. And I don't know if my recommendation would be what everybody would look at, but let me show you. I don't have too many, but I have some pictures of it.
I think they're trying to put it on the.
Yeah.
You know, that area there, going back to what you suggested, Yolanda, to have something that would be very, you know, like florals, like bougainvilleas, like crepe myrtle, something that is very attractive. Greenery.
Greenery and stuff like that, that will make it colorful,
Camouflage.
attractive, yeah. And really brighten up that area. I think that would be,
What is, I don't remember, I go by there a lot, but what's behind?
that's a house up there. There's a property that says for sale.
It's a hill, right?
There's a hill,
Is
but
there
there,
hill?
there are homes back
At the
in
top,
there.
yeah.
And that actual property that's right above, I believe is for sale.
Yeah, that's
There's
a
a sign,
suggestion.
and then the house that's further in, there's like a parking, they have parking,
So
so
then,
that's
is
like
this
a
wall
retaining
here
wall.
holding anything?
it's a retaining wall for
retaining wall.
dirt,
Okay.
for ground. It's a retaining wall for.
So
for
far,
dirt.
so good, in 30 years, nothing,
No.
it's been all right.
No.
It doesn't rain enough.
It doesn't rain enough.
So anyways, this is one of the pictures.
Oh, I hate
that I
this.
took.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
if you look at it,
it's totally-
the images and the silhouettes are pretty much in there. The colors are very much
Faded.
faded. The gray that you see on the heads is actually supposed to be red, but that red has
Wow.
completely died.
Yeah.
As well as some of the dabs that you see in the back, which I don't know exactly what color they might have been at one time or another. Excuse me a second, I just got one of those 800 calls. I guess I'm gonna have to here we go. The next one is, there we go. These are taken very close and in full sunlight, so that's the reason why it is so clear. But you can see, for example, on the right-hand side, some of the yellows are pretty striking still. This is the section at the top where there is a tree, and that tree has, I think, protected.
Yeah, you
a
can see
little
the
bit
color a little
the
bit
unit
better
from
there.
the sun.
That's what it did.
So the colors that are, even though they are faded, they're still a little bit more intense. Same as in here.
So the red seems to be the
Right.
one that faded.
There's a road that leads to it, Gail, not through here.
No,
but
you have
But
to
to the
go,
other side.
there's a street behind.
Behind, and that one goes.
Which is probably Musser, Musser?
That's Gustavo?
Gustavos.
Gustavo's.
It's Gustavos, and there's homes back there, and there's two side streets where the wall is, but the one side street, it only comes to about halfway, and then it's just rocks before it gets to the wall. So the homes that are there don't really come all the way to the wall. There's like a ground and rocks
Right.
and stuff that permit that. Not,
So you can only
don't
go in
allow
through-
that.
through-
And you have to go in
Gustavo's.
through Gustavo's, cause that's how those people get to their homes.
It would be nice, even if we did something new, to still incorporate a couple of parrots in whatever we do there, just the
Yeah.
idea that it started with parrots.
That's right,
Yeah.
yes, I like that.
Well, at minimum, it would be the ones that are painted on the metal. I mean, that would,
Well, there's like standing parrots
Yeah.
on
That's what I'm
those
saying.
rocks.
Yeah.
This is, for example, part of the deterioration,
Yeah.
which is a little bit more. And on the right-hand side of the top, there's also chipping of the.
I'm wondering
surface.
if that retaining wall has anything to do with the city keeping it upgraded, because it's a retaining wall
Mhm.
that they obviously cut through when they built Clark Boulevard, right? They cut through a hill.
Yeah, I'm pretty
So,
sure that's.
I wonder if there's funding to at least restore whatever is,
The integrity of the wall.
and then paint, because I think it's important that it would be, and I'm sure it behooves the city to have it in good condition, because you don't want the whole thing falling down on the traffic, so.
Yeah.
We probably should look into that, they must have,
Now, you said something about insurance,
No, the insurance
for
would be.
example,
but
It's for the students.
that would be the city, right?
no, but I
if you
think
have-
that I don't think that in this day and age, you can have kids painting that wall
It's too
with
dangerous.
the traffic on Clark. I
At
think
that
that
time-
is probably,
It's too
30
dangerous.
years
You could do it
ago.
on Sundays.
Unless we do
no,
that.
I just don't think that, we'd have to have insurance like Julio said.
It's-
30
The
30 years.
liability would be too great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 years ago, what the teachers would do,
Yeah,
would be to give a little paper, I would say, take this to your parents and have them sign. And that was the legality of
No.
it. And he would say, you know,
and these are the same parents driving with kids in the back of the pickup, so,
They were part of the park
Going
there.
with Mr. Miller, with
Over
all
the
the
day.
art projects to Life Downs.
People
Just-
just sue as much
Let's
as
go
they
and
do
do,
now.
okay, and going with the teacher to Life Down to hang out art.
yeah.
honey, we had bonfires at school, but
Oh, yeah, I used to go to them.
Yeah,
when I was
unreal,
younger.
unreal.
But anyway, okay,
Let's not
yeah.
go that far.
So what are we talking about? We're talking about maybe, are we gonna make a decision here today that we wanna change that mural and still incorporate some parrots?
This is the.
is that-
the last
I like
section.
that plan.
Is that our prerogative? Do we get to do
Well,
that?
I was gonna say that we need to put that, I think we need to develop a theme.
Right.
Uh-huh.
But I think the artists are the one that should make the
Like,
artist should
if
make.
we're going to offer the wall
the
to an
decision,
artist.
Or, yeah, they should make a proposal,
I
put it
see
out for
that.
proposals and say, we would like to keep us, for you to incorporate,
Yeah.
the theme of that because it is historic now.
Right, something to do with that.
I think that we should help formulate the theme, but that the proposal should be the artist's vision.
Right.
Yeah.
How are you
Yeah,
doing?
and if they can incorporate some of the birds.
I'm
I mean,
sure they would, yeah.
They might even incorporate the birds without using the ones that are there.
Yeah.
Be able to
Right.
make,
Oh,
something a little
absolutely,
bit
yeah.
more.
So, I have another question. Is it now the part of our committee to request funding for this mural from the city?
I believe that we had been approached by, right, indicating that he would assist with the funding.
With the funding, okay. So it's like separate from our mural projects? or
Right,
whatever.
Right, yeah, I don't
So
think we have
we would
money
get funding
ourselves
through
to
the
do
city
any of
council.
this
It would be something
No pueden
like,
poner barriers.
yeah,
Yeah.
I got it, okay,
Yeah.
all
Para
right,
poder pintar.
Okay,
yeah.
very good.
So like that area, they would never be able to paint.
Yeah, that area there, I mean, that up there is somebody's,
That's the
retaining-
yard,
somebody's
exactly,
retaining.
somebody's house,
It's not-
right there.
Yeah.
But I think what Cactus did was he was able to utilize the natural terrain.
Right,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
think-
really is pretty.
Mhm.
Those birds will not be a problem to repaint them because of the fact that they're metal, all that you have to do is scrape them, sand them, put a little bit of Rust-Oleum or whatever
the
they
problem is
paint
getting
on.
up there.
So that
Mountain
is,
Not
climbers.
climbing.
yeah, rock climbing.
The information that you provided last time, Ms. Solis
Laredo
did share
system,
that
yeah.
with the co-interim city manager, Ms. Cabello Rosario.
Yeah.
Okay.
And has also been given a draft of a call for artists for Councilman Torres. And she hasn't received anything back from Councilman Torres yet, but that's in process already.
I'll call him tonight.
Yes.
Remind him.
So,
Very good.
so it's already being programmed basically, right?
It's in.
In
Okay.
front.
Very good.
I guess the city would then send us the budget and then we would put out a
Right,
request.
so it's, from what I understand, it's under Councilman Torres, so
Yes,
it's not really,
The
city department is.
Right.
But he would want our assistance in putting out the call to artists and kind of
Right.
review.
That's what we're.
And developing a
Going-
theme
Okay,
and the process.
Hopefully going through that process.
okay. Sure.
All right, very good. The next one is the art tiles from the Yo-Yo Ma Day of Action. And I brought some of the art that was done on the tiles. They're already finished. They have been also glazed with a clear in order to be able to maintain the integrity of the tiles themselves. There is approximately 200 tiles, and we had this talk very briefly about it, about what we were going to do with it. Most of the work was done by children, which is what I think the most interesting thing of it. So it is it would make a very colorful unit. I had suggested at one time, when they were being made, the possibility of using them at the entrance of the Laredo Center for the Arts. There is a section right there at the front where everybody signs in. And I thought that placing that there would give,
On the floor?
uh-huh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, on the floor.
Are they durable enough to
Yeah,
be on the
yeah,
floor?
this is stoneware.
Okay.
Stoneware, and thinking of that, we went to each one of the tiles and we
Made
created a
groups,
bottom to
uh-huh.
make sure that they stick to it.
The floor
So-
there is what?
No?
It's
No.
wood floor?
So,
No, not
no,
concrete.
Is it
not right
concrete?
there.
It's a concrete.
There's a little
So
stage
would
to
you go
it.
down, or would you keep it high and then?
It's because it's concrete.
It would be very high. It would not be any higher than that.
It would add a little layer.
Yeah,
After you put the grout and the tile, it would raise it a little bit.
yeah. You know, we'll raise it maybe 1/4 inch or something like that. I don't think that it's any further than that.
There's 200? Or
There's
what'd you say?
approximately 200. There's two big boxes,
Okay.
quite deep. There may be more, I didn't
And
know.
there's one actually done by him,
The one done by him is this one
right
here.
there. Oh, there it
It
is.
did not come out very nicely because he was having a problem with the brush.
Oh,
And what he did, I'm sorry, what he did wasn't that he scratched on it.
oh, I see.
So it's
Oh,
not
there's
very.
his cello is there. Los
Yeah,
dos
the
laredos.
very one.
Viva los dos laredos.
Viva
Very
los
nice.
dos Laredos.
Very nice.
And he had a ball when he was doing it
He did.
because he had a lot of kids around him, painting, and he was just having a ball and asking questions. And I remember that we had the young man that was the abrazo.
Yeah, your brazo child.
The abrazo child, and he was, the two of them, and he was asking questions. He was very, very nice throughout the entire time that he was here. How he interacted with the children. The way that he took time to be able to hold a piece of music for one of the students whose papers were flying, so he would be able to play his music.
Yeah.
So it was a very touching moment, I think. So, we had thought at the beginning, or one of the thoughts was to do a kind of a board that would be hung. I think it's way too heavy for it, and I think on the floor it would present a much better finish and less problematic to do. So, the only thing that I want to know, since now it is in the possession of basically the committee, is to find if everybody will be in agreement to give it to the Laredo Center for the Arts for them to place it in front of their entrance.
I guess you'd have to check first with, I think, Viviana and them, because they were the architects for the remodel of that building. If that's feasible, because it's gonna raise the floor, maybe that would be something we
Might
would
be a
need.
hazard.
Huh?
It might be a hazard.
Yeah, it might be like, you might trip or something if it's just a little step, I don't know. They probably have to check that out.
Okay.
Or I'm thinking what else they could do with it, but.
What about a park, like at the Tres Laredos Park where the event? I think I had understood once that.
That's where they were gonna do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, if it's on the ground, that's in a floodplain, so it'd have to be something that gets routinely flooded. It would have to be at some elevated.
Like maybe another park.
Well, the idea was, my idea at least, was that the place where he actually really talked to the community,
Was there, at the
Was
back
there.
of that.
so that to me would be the center where it would be most appropriate. I think people will visit the Laredo Center for the Arts more often than they do the park, and it will be conserved because it is
Yeah, also,
in a protected area.
at the park, you never know, there's vandalism, you never know, people
Yeah.
might break it, or I don't know.
And there isn't a wall at the entrance, I'm trying to think that it could be done in a wall. Is
At
that-
the entrance of the Center for the Arts,
Uh-huh. Or,
It's
or
mostly-
where they could
But it's mostly
designate.
windows.
It's mostly
Yeah.
glass, what you have.
That, I don't know.
Mostly
Yeah.
glass.
I'm sure that maybe we should look further into that, like,
And maybe the architects can suggest.
Yeah.
something.
But when they do that, they usually dig whatever it is, they make the thing and then
yeah.
take out all the
They-
The existing
excess
tile.
and
I don't
then
know,
put it-
those are the original cement floors, I think they are.
They might not wanna do it.
I know they got rid of the
Oh.
upper level that was there, remember you would step up?
Right.
Yes.
And they lowered everything, but I think those were just the original cement floors and they stained them or something. But I'm not sure. But, I mean, I don't know, I think that would be a good place for them.
Hmm.
I
On
mean,
the floor.
do you wanna,
And maybe trim it, make it look like a little rug.
yeah, I
And-
mean, there's all
and
kinds
there's a
of
way
things
to-
that we can do.
Yeah,
The
anyway,
edge can.
anyway,
I
you
don't-
look at it, in order to be able to
Yeah.
put the tiles there, there's gonna have to be,
If
you
it's
have to break
feasible.
the concrete a little bit.
And flush,
Yeah.
so it'd be flush on the
So-
floor.
And
It's,
that's an added
And
expense.
so it can grab also.
Well, yeah, I think that needs to be looked into, but I mean.
I'll be at the center tomorrow and Saturday with the show, and I'll talk to Rosie about, maybe we'll walk around and
Yeah,
I'll get an idea of,
Okay.
that, I'll tell her that the commission wants to have it located there. I think they would be very flattered about having it there.
So.
That was a really nice event when he went there
Yeah.
that day.
Most definitely. Okay, very good.
I think it's a good idea.
All right, then we'll wait for
More
the
next
Center
meeting.
for the Arts to let us know what they want to do. Okay, all right. Then, let me go to the next one, the Texas Commission for the Art Cultural District Designation Program.
So we have a staff member here, Ms. Renee LePerrier, used to work in that department and now she's a librarian with us, so she's gonna be presenting some information on that.
Actually, Renee LePerrier for the record, librarian 2, past planner, and planner responsible for writing the current zoning district ordinance for arts and entertainment district, zoning district. Last August, we had made the presentation, the citation or the information from the minutes, I believe is there on item D. Don't really wanna go over the whole thing, so I think I'd rather, defer to Mr. Mendez, who's brought some handouts, and then I would then like to answer any questions, because frankly, this was a very big surprise to me, since I'm not involved in any way, shape, or form with planning at this point in time. And when I spoke with Alejandrina Sanchez, who is the historic planner and also a planner involved in the rezoning, so she's familiar with zoning districts. This was news to her as well. So take it away and then I'll answer questions as I know, as I can.
Yeah, on, let me see. On 8/23, we met with you and we looked at the presentation of the area designated. And also there was a brief discussion or presentation.
On what day was that?
That was on the August 23rd.
Last?
Last year,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And it was the first time that I met with this commission. And they also talked about the cultural district designation program.
Oh, it was in this meeting. huh?
Yes.
Yeah,
it
I
was in the
remember.
meeting,
Okay, yeah.
It was the one meeting that we had
Yes,
last
I
time.
remember that, okay.
According to Ms. Solis's notes, at the time the commission viewed the video and saw the requirements, the commission agreed it was a bit extensive for that time, the requirements, and the commission was not ready to proceed with an application.
Right. Since then, there have been several developments. One of them, Yo-Yo Ma. And I think that has been one of the things that started the spark on many of the local groups and people that are interested in the arts, of how the city was able to come together as a group in order to be able to put up or to extend out to the community Yo-Yo Ma and his approach to the importance of culture and the arts in communities with his approach that he brought to town. It was very rewarding and interesting to see how many people were part of the committee that actually made the preparations for that. And that was the initiative, I think, that sparked several people in the community, several groups in the community, to begin to think about the possibility of requesting from the Texas Cultural to actually give us access to create a district here in Laredo. Some of the people are known to you all and to me. I don't want to give any names right now because this is a process. But we started looking at it and discussing it yesterday, the possibilities of it. And the basic approach to the grant, which is this people that I gave you here, is pretty much partially done. In order to be able to begin to move into the possibilities of organizing a cultural and art district in Laredo. I gave you also a handout where I show you the 40 districts that exist in Texas that have art cultural districts. There are 40 of them. Only 9 of those 40 have a larger population than we do. Some of the population are as small as 2,288 people, and they have been able to do it. I think that Laredo is ready for this type of action from this community. If you take into consideration just off the top of our heads the different kind of cultural and artistic activities that we have in Laredo, they are extensive. And they're extensive not only in numbers, but in quality and in quantity of the people that we bring to the city during those celebrations. One of the interesting things here, the only reason why I'm bringing it is because I think that it's important for the city to understand the purpose here. We don't have to be a city in order to be able to request to be the district. All that we have to be is a non-profit organization that has the backing of the city in order to be able to request this certification or this ability to be called a district. Once that is done, then we can request funds. Do they have funds all the time? Probably not. Would they give us funds all the time? we don't know. This is nothing more than something that we have to go through in order to be able to get to those possibilities. We have today, I think, I can go ahead and mention that, we had some members that actually went to talk to the person that is the principal in the Department of Texas Cultural, what is it called? Art,
The Texas,
Commission.
Texas
Texas
Cultural
Commission
Trust,
for that.
yeah, for the arts, the
Okay.
Texas Cultural Trust.
And that person said that we have all that is required or necessary in order to be able to apply for it. So he was very optimistic about it, and so are the people that I have been dealing or discussing these events with. It is the preliminaries towards what we want to achieve, but I think that it is a very doable type of enterprise that we're getting into. The only thing that we would have to request from the city would be no other than what they do, for example, in some of the cultural events that we have. When we have the month of Washington celebration, when we have the parade, when we have the Jalapeno Festival. In other words, providing different things that are required for these things to happen. The jacuzzi, etc. The need to block streets, the need to be able to have exactly basically the same thing that we have. The only thing is that we would be called then a cultural center, and we can then create more avenues or help the different activities that take place in town to be better funded and to give the backing that they need to have in order to continue to operate. Earlier we were talking about the different plays that we have just this month. There's 4 different plays. As a matter of fact, I should be at the box office already for Mary Poppins, which in essence I invite you all to go. It's outstanding. I've seen the preliminaries of it, and it is great. If you go, you're gonna love it. Not just a little bit of. But I think that if we look at it, and I would, if you go into the Commission of the Arts right here on this one, that I show you the numbers of population that each individual unit has. Right on the side, if you go into it, it shows you exactly what the cultural programming is. It shows you the guidelines that are needed. It shows you how the application forms, training videos, et cetera, et cetera. So it is something that you could easily look at. And on the other one, I got the calendar for granting. And as you can see, it looks extensive, but as I said, one of the persons that I have been talking to and we have been working or listening to them, has already what we might call the preliminary paperwork necessary to begin the ball rolling. And like I said, they told me that today they went to Austin and they got the blessings from the gentleman, Jim Bob, I believe it is, that yeah, go ahead and do it. You have it. So I think it will be a great thing for us to do. And with the cooperation of the city, I think that it is doable.
Right, to actually be designated
Designated, yeah.
culture district.
Mhm.
And
Actually,
obviously,
we're a gem, and we haven't really,
Oh, yeah.
We are.
the
Yeah.
deadlines for it.
Yeah.
we have more than a lot of these other cities. Just the February.
Just the fact that we are outside from El Paso, the only city that has a border, it's just amazing. And our
It's
culture
incredible.
extends both ways.
Right.
So it is, I mean, I don't think that there's anybody in any
I
one of the
really
groups that
don't.
I've seen that has what we have.
What we have.
And not for nothing, but just the mere fact that we had an entity in Laredo that was recognized with the Texas Medal Awards by the Texas Cultural Trust,
Yeah.
which are connected to the Texas Commission for the Arts, it's a big thing. I mean, they know who we are,
Yes.
And,
so.
and that is basically what we are going to need. We are gonna have to, the group is gonna have to be a non-profit organization. And that means that we need to pull exactly the same way that we did when we accepted Yo-Yo Ma's invitation to come here. And be able to group ourselves and actually find common interests in order to be able to get this thing going. But referring to some words of wisdom in the past, it's very simple. If it's not now, when? If it's not here, where? And if it's not us,
Now is
who
the
is going
time.
to? So,
Oh, this is great, this is great.
I think that the city dads will be very supportive, because they were very supportive with Yo-Yo Ma. They've also been very supportive with any one of the other kind of events that we hold in Laredo. So I think that it would be a very positive thing to group together and to try to get ahead. Again, 90% of the people that participate in any one of those programs are our youth. And they are the ones that are actually going to carry this city forward. And when we take into consideration the many times that our children go out of Laredo and they go to Austin or San Antonio and they stay there, what is the first thing they say? Well, there's nothing to do in Laredo.
Oh.
Well, we need to demonstrate that we have things in Laredo and make it positive for all the ones that remain here.
I even hear that with people that live in San Antonio. I know, we don't do that because it's too far.
Yeah.
So there has to be a
You know, I don't
nonprofit
go to-
organization, because it
Basically,
says
yeah,
an organization by itself or representing a collaborative effort will
Right.
will file an application
yeah.
to recognize their cultural district. So I'm not sure what that means, either an organization by itself
We-
or representing a collaborative
Yeah,
effort.
we have to, that's the reason why I'm saying that we need to group once again the way that we
Or
did with
collaborative
Yo-Yo Ma.
effort would mean several nonprofits or
It could be, well,
Or
we'll
what,
have to create
several?
one nonprofit that is going to be the one
Maybe
that will be
incorporates
probably a board.
different organizations?
Well, they can be incorporated by different organizations in order to be able to manage the thing.
Right, okay.
Those are things that,
We'd have to look into.
we need to look into, and I believe that the group, that has already initiated that, which is a collaborative, type of, interest on their part.
It says here that in
Who
the
is it?
application that the applicant must be a cultural district management entity, a CDME, and it can either be a 501 or a governmental entity.
Mm.
It can either be the city that requests it, right?
Or a government entity
Or-
as part of the
You know,
city.
Yeah, I mean, but it would have, that's the way they get around the 501.
Well, then, like, this is an entity that's part of the city.
I don't know the answer to that, but it would probably be something.
Who are the people on the
We are in preliminaries, and it's been
Pues un entity sería un commission.
several people,
You know,
Manatilla.
Yeah, it could be a collaboration, but
uh,
it looks like, it says, the text, you are what's called a cultural district management entity. And then you could be, I guess, sponsored by the city, that's,
Yeah.
because the other thing is to actually form a separate nonprofit,
Art.
that's very,
But that takes time.
time,
Madam
that's why I'm
Chair.
saying.
Cultivar.
Madam Chair,
no, eso no es entity.
may I make a comment?
Yes.
I think that I can follow up to find out if this commission can be considered an
Okay.
entity, because I think that's a really good distinction. And I had been a little fuzzy on that until just this meeting. So yeah, I will follow through on that for you.
Okay, thank you.
And then it just requires that there be a chairperson, a contact person, an email, city, and then, we have to identify our legislators,
Mhm.
that cover the district.
Right.
And then it asks about how we're governed. what's the qualification of the staff and leadership, how frequently the group meets, are minutes of the meeting kept, that's all the normal accountability. And then it says current number of nonprofit or organizations physically located in the cultural district. So for example, that would be,
Center for the Arts, Laredo Theater Guild, the Philharmonic, you know, all these.
I will
Yeah.
just-
and
There's a
that's why we
Mark
say that we
Washington.
fulfill that.
Martha
All those
Washington.
groups are.
Current number of artists living or working in the cultural district. Current number of restaurants in the cultural district.
Those we have a lot.
Current number of those restaurants that are locally originated, not versus chain or franchise. Current number of hotels and B&Bs in the cultural district, bed and breakfast. Total number of guest rooms, suites in those districts. Number of bars, clubs in the cultural district. With number of bars, clubs with live performances. Number of festival art walks held annually in the cultural district. The 3 biggest drawing events, you know, which start off with WBCA. Using Google Maps, what is the walk time one way between the farthest points of the district?
And so what, we'd have to designate a certain district.
Yeah, or sometimes the whole city, I mean,
Okay.
yeah. Are 100% of the sidewalks of the cultural district ADA compliant, which
That's another.
That's part of the city,
That's part of the city.
our little city planning idea for.
well, push and shove always helps.
Yeah.
Remember the turf board already looks at that and they have funds for it, so I think it could be in partnership with them to figure out what needs updating.
Or
I'm sorry,
marketing.
what? Becky, no, I didn't hear.
The TERS board,
Oh,
it's the city board, and they look at, I mean, you can see what their boundaries are, it's pretty large, but it's really all of downtown, and their #1 mandate is to make the downtown more walkable.
yeah.
They have money, they have funds for infrastructure. So if that's a requirement in the application, that's something that they can look at. Cause I think they're about to start executing, or they're gonna start a contract to start executing, the actual project work.
What is the name of that commission?
It's, the acronym is TIRZ, TIRZ, and it stands for Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone.
Okay.
So they freeze the tax rate, they froze it.
It's for the downtown development idea, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they have 300,000
Yeah.
or something.
Okay, cool. Well, you need to go. Mr. Chair.
I'm gonna join you because my grandson he'll kill me if I don't go to his very
Yeah,
first
you have to go,
performance.
you have to go every night.
Yeah.
I can't leave.
So,
His first time,
This
this
is
is
great.
great, and he's like in all heaven.
yeah, like I said, this is, we're on the preliminaries of it, and, you know, as you heard, there's a lot of things that need to be done, but I think that,
Boy, this is one of the best meetings we've had.
I know, in a long time. Very good.
May I ask something, Julio, in one of these, because of course I haven't been here, but under, what is this? The minutes? There's a section on items for discussion for possible action, and that's the paragraph A for the mural. And on the bottom, it is something that Bobby Lopez suggested about those murals that are in the, where the railroad area is.
Oh, yeah.
Guadalupe. Was anything ever discussed? Because I've got the original, designs of those.
no,
Oh,
but
the pilings.
The pilings.
The pilings in the, it's also kind of a
yeah, we
wastewater.
we
thing.
talked about it, but we
Yeah.
didn't,
Further discuss.
Further
They're just
discuss.
faded, but.
Yeah, we were talking about that maybe they could be,
Restored.
Restored,
I don't think
yeah.
that would take too much, because it's just really, it's still there. It's not in the condition that the parrots are.
right,
right.
How old are those?
not as old, I don't remember.
It's more recent, that is
Yeah.
about maybe
20?
15, 20 years. yeah.
I've been there 12, and they were there way before. I've been
Yeah,
at
they've been
BMT
there a
for-
long time,
Yeah.
but they're in
maybe
better
20.
condition.
Yeah.
Who was the artist? Was it also?
Jorge Vasquez,
Oh,
Jorge
it was
Vasquez and his, the students.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that came up because the discussion of other pieces of
Yeah,
public art
that needed to be
might need
reviewed or
to be
Yeah, it
And
was-
those
it
are
was kind of
beautiful, the
original
designs
Yeah, they
and
are.
everything are they're very cultural, very
They're very pretty.
beautiful.
So I guess we could look into that
Maybe we
also.
can bring it up for discussion the next time around.
Okay.
Okay. So, good. Then I guess that's it. We're gonna schedule a meeting for the next time,
I have August 15th or 22nd.
August what?
August 15th or 22nd, and it's to review, or partially to review proposals for the 820 convent elderly apartment.
Oh, okay.
We may want to have a special meeting when, sometime before the 12th, if we need to talk about budget workshop, right?
The 12th?
Because remember, we were
What's
being
the
told
12th?
that
You wanna present?
the city council had not set the budget workshop, but that it was probably the week of the 12th.
Oh,
So I don't know if there's anything that we want to go present as a committee.
Right, so as communication from administration about when that's actually gonna be.
You're right, so that maybe we set up a special meeting just in case we're gonna go to council and talk about
any of these
funding and then
projects.
also supporting the initiative that we've already done by resolution, which
Well,
is.
that's what she said, that, yes, that's.
Yes, but I think we may want to have a
Yeah.
meeting before we go
Before we go present. Yeah.
present, so that you can join us and kind of give us some pointers.
Very good.
So, regular meeting sometime after the 12th, possible special meeting, once we get information as to when the budget workshops are.
Yes, sir.
Just a small
We
little
can do
meeting.
that, yeah.
Can you all advise us?
It would be a
Yes,
one
I'll-
agenda
Check with
item.
Ms. Solis and we agree.
Okay.
See what
When
she
is
has and we'll
the
email.
regular meeting for next month?
Either the 15th or the 22nd. That's what we're trying to decide. So any suggestions? 15th or 22nd?
15th will be fine.
Is it on a Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah,
15.
15th.
Yep, 15th for me is better too.
Mm-hmm.
22nd, not good. 15th better.
Do we have to sign in? Because I came in late.
We do have a sign in, yes.
Yeah, we
Good.
have
Okay, then. Then we are adjourned.
No, we have, don't we have to?
Somebody,
We have to move.
somebody,
I move that we adjourn.
Oh,
We're adjourned, guys.
Okay, let me start the recording.
ah, bueno. The phones are ringing.
No, they'll circulate, I guess, so that we're.
Ay, no, que lo vas a cumplir ese güey.
Yeah, but it was up to it gets done.
Pues, they went to the- they come-
That's why
I mean, they were-
council doesn't want to pay.
I know, well, you know, we need to also.
They just say no.
Yeah, no,